Today I just wanted to I'll try not to talk too much this time. I wanted to talk to you today about suicide. I've known a lot of people who have decided to take their lives, and I don't believe in suicide. I mean, I think that it is the one of the worst decisions a person can make, um, because there's help out there. You know, you're not alone. A lot of people want to die. A lot of people feel like life is shit and it's just not going to get better. We all go through that. Sometimes things are so bad that you just cannot see any way out of it, any way that it's going to get better. But the thing is if you just push through, if you just keep on going, it will. It never fails. Um, I often say it to the friends that I have. If you're looking for darkness, that's all you're gonna find. And the thing is so many of my friends that have committed suicide, they were in these dark places, and their minds just stayed there, and it's like they just rotted, to the point where they just could not see that things get better. I mean, one friend, he was 25 when he killed himself. And it's like, yeah, I know, you're 25, you've never had a serious girlfriend, you want kids, you want all of that. Just wait, you know? I mean, just wait. It'll happen. Because he was a great guy. Um, it was going to happen eventually that somebody was going to snatch him up, but he didn't give life a chance. He figured that by 25, he should have had some glimpse of that because all of his friends had that. All of us had kids. All of us had been in serious relationships, and he never had. And I would tell him all the time, I mean, maybe that girl for you is like 15 years old right now. You got to wait for her to get legal, you know. Or maybe she's 24 and she's having the time of her life and doesn't want to settle down, so she's not looking at you. But in a year, she decides, I've had enough partying. I'm ready to settle down. I mean, that's what we tell girls all the time. That um my my brother used to say this to me, not my real brother, my adopted brother. He would say, when I was 13, and I was upset that I didn't have a boyfriend or that the boys I liked didn't like me, he'd say, there are girls you want to fuck and girls you want to have a relationship with. And he said, right now, those boys that are your age, they just want to talk to girls that they can fuck. You know, and to this day I remember that I was ready for those big things, and I was upset that I wasn't on that path yet. And now, as an adult, as a grown person, I've always felt like, I tell my daughter, don't even imagine a big future with your boyfriend, because you're 13, he's 15. You know, it is so astronomically rare for a relationship that starts in your teen years to work out in your adult life. It's just rare. And I tell her, don't get your hopes up about that. Um, but people figure, they get stuck in these bad thoughts of, I'm never gonna have anything, and I'm not gonna have these things because I'm not worthy. Nobody really loves me. Nobody would care if I died. They won't miss me. Those thoughts that in other videos I've called gnats, um, which gnats is a negative automatic thought, but I use the term like gnats that fly around your face and you swat at them. Well, it's the same with the gnats that are in your head, the NATs. You know, you have to recognize that those thoughts are not from a healthy mind. Um, a healthy mind does not say, life's not working out for me, I'm just going to end it all. That's wanting to die, like literally wanting to die, is the sign of an unhealthy mind, with one exception. And I can say that none of my friends have ever committed suicide for the reason that I would think is okay, which is you're dying of a cancer, you're in a lot of pain, and there ain't a damn thing they can do for you, or any other disease that's bad like that. Like my mom had ALS, and she had the very aggressive form, which was Bopar ALS. So she had 18 months from onset before she was dying. She was gasping for air her last moments of life, and she was it it's a very traumatic thing when you think about a person who's living like that, like she couldn't walk, she couldn't breathe, she was wasting away. This is a woman who lost over 100 pounds in less than a year. She didn't look like herself. She couldn't eat because she would choke on things. As horrible as it was for her to live through that, it's really horrible for loved ones to have that image in their head. So that's the only kind of suicide that I'm like, that's okay. You are suffering from something physical that medical science cannot fix. Yes, they could put you in a coma, but you're not going to get better. They're just putting you in a coma waiting for you to die. So personally, I want to choose to go at that point and say, I'm going to save my family some money, because the hospital doesn't need money to basically wait for me to die. And I don't want my family to see me like that, I mean, medical conditions, yes. But the rest of us, I mean, what most of the suicides that happen are over, it's not. And the thing is we also, as survivors and people who live around people with these unhealthy minds, also have to remember to not tell somebody, just get over it. When we see that they're struggling, and they tell us what's wrong, don't ever say to that person, everybody goes through that. Just get over it. You'll be fine. It's no big deal. Everybody has it. No. Do not invalidate that person's feelings. Let them know if you've been there before. Let them know how you got through it. If you haven't been there before, if you don't know why they're feeling what they're feeling, if you don't understand why they're still hung up on something, don't worry about saying anything. Just sit with them. Entertain them. Let them know that you're there. You're always there. You're going to listen. You're not going to judge them. You're going to be there. And if at all possible, if you can be, a phrase that I always love is, a single ray of light can drive away many shadows. If you can be a ray of light in that person's life, that is something. But don't beat yourself up if a person kills themselves, because it's not your fault. There's nothing you could have done aside from, like, having them committed. But the thing is a lot of people, even if you have them committed, they're going to go out and they're going to try again. Eventually you're not going to be there. So the best thing that you can do is just try. And if you try and they end up killing themselves, you can say you tried. I mean, some people you can't save. And that's a really sad thing, because the thing is that these people need to be saved. They can't, but they need to be saved, but they don't see all that that's going on in their head, all of that doubt, all of that I'm not where I need to be in my life. No one will miss me. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. You cannot get them to see that that's just not true. They won't see it. That's the really bad thing about it. So I'm making this video for the people who are thinking about it. When you die, when you kill yourself, everybody around you feels guilty. They all feel like, I should have been there. I should have stayed. I shouldn't have left them alone. It's no longer about your suffering. They're not saying, oh, well, now I don't have to worry about him anymore. Nobody's going to say that when you die. Unless they're a supreme asshole. They're not going to say that. They're going to say, I should have done something. How did I miss this? Why didn't he talk to me? Was I a bad friend? Was I a bad mother? Whatever your relationship to that person is. Nobody is thinking, well, they were such a burden. I'm just glad they're gone. I don't have to worry about them. And nobody's going to say, well, at least they're not suffering anymore. They'll say that about cancer victims and people dying of Parkinson's and ALS and stuff, but not of somebody who just has an unhealthy mind. Will the people you leave behind beat themselves up for decades, if not the rest of their lives, and they wonder, I wonder what they'd be doing right now. You know, there's so much. It's your suffering continues after you leave. You just pass it on to others. So if you're thinking about killing yourself, get help. Don't leave your pain for your loved ones to carry, because that's what you'll do. When you kill yourself, you leave it for them. And for those of you who would kill yourself and say, well, I'll show them, they're going to miss me when I'm gone. Don't do that. Don't leave that kind of memory behind. Don't leave them with that, even if you feel like they deserve to pay. Make them pay by living a good life and telling them to go fuck themselves. Your death does not make people pay for the shitty things they've done to you. Because they're not going to sit there and think, I did a lot of shitty things to them. You know, your parents who abused you are not going to think, oh, I should have never hit them. If I wouldn't have abused them, they wouldn't be dead. No. They're just going to think, why would they do this to me? It becomes about them again, if they're that kind of person. Because if I would have killed myself, my mother would have turned it around about her. Why would she do this to me? Like I said, my pain, my reason would be lost on everybody else. So it's pointless to do it. You're better off if you're sad, if you're struggling, get help. Figure out a way. There are lots of counseling programs. And the trick to therapy is you have to do the work. You have to talk to the therapist. If you don't want to do that, get on Facebook, get on groups. There are tons of groups, people struggling with the same stuff you're struggling with. And then there's people there who have gotten through it and can tell you, hey, I got through it. And if you need someone to love you, if you feel like nobody loves you, nobody cares, get yourself a dog or a cat or a squirrel, something. But I can guarantee, see, I'm not a dog person, but I can guarantee you get a dog, the dog will love you. He will love you. And he'll distract you from all the shit that your brain will spit out at you, trying to get you to give up, to stop fighting. But you got to say, you know what? I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get through and I'm going to be better. And when I see somebody struggling like I'm struggling, I'm going to help them too. That's what we need to do as human beings, as good people. We need to say, hey, I've gotten through some shit. I see somebody struggling. I'm going to help them get through their shit too. I'm going to tell them, even if my whole story is that I had to pull myself up by my bootstraps and do it myself. Sometimes that's what people need to hear. You never know when it's something that they need to hear. And if they'll have follow-up questions maybe. Like, how did you do that? And you just say, well, I just decided one morning when I had this going on and that going on, but as I said before, if somebody does kill themselves around you, try not to blame yourself. You can't save a person who is dead set on it. You just really can't stop them. I mean, I wish I could. I would help every single one of them, because I really hate seeing the loss and seeing great minds, because there are a lot of great minds that have killed themselves, whether they meant to or whether they killed themselves with drugs, not meaning to. Lots of viable people who didn't feel like they were viable. And you're not around to see what you meant to people. So don't do it. And as far as the other thing goes, the whole medical suicide thing, seriously, people, we need to get on board with the whole death with dignity, or just allow doctor-assisted suicide. Shit. Doctors are take an oath to do no harm. We put our fucking dog to sleep. You put your dog to sleep, your cat to sleep when he can't walk. He's in so much pain. When you know that there ain't anything that medical science can do for your beloved pet, your fur baby, the member of your family, whatever you call your pet. You put him to sleep. Why can't we do that for human beings? Let them die when they're at a point where they're like, I just hurt too much. I physically can't do anything. I physically feel like I have no dignity. Like, I don't want to live past the point where my kids got to wipe my ass and change my diaper. At that point, I don't want to be around. And I don't care if it's because I've got an incurable disease, or if it's just that I'm 90. If I do not want my kids doing that. I want to go out before that happens. And I don't think that that's too much to ask of legislators, to allow people to make that decision and allow doctors to make sure that you don't suffer to achieve that goal. So that's my 2 cents. Have a great night.